another set of Division One men's tennis rankings have been released, and it's a set of computer rankings at that. So, and I'm not going to go over this again next week because that's when NCAA tournament's going to start. And honestly, I'm going to wait period until the whole NCAA tournament is done to go over this again. So, and it goes as follows: Ohio State, Texas, Virginia, TCU, Kentucky, Tennessee, Columbia, Wake Forest, Florida State, Oklahoma, Arizona, Harvard, Duke, NC State, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, San Diego, Michigan State, Stanford, Alabama, UCLA, Arizona State, Auburn, and Florida out of the top 25. But 26 through 40 goes as follows: Illinois, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Michigan, Arkansas, Cornell, Oklahoma State, Princeton, LSU, Memphis, UCF, Middle Tennessee State, Georgia, Pepperdine, and Baylor. And we're going to have to wait and see what the order for the top 16 teams are going to be. Barring Ohio State, I don't even if they lose the Big Ten tournament, like in the semifinal, which I don't think is going to happen, I don't see them any lower than a 1. And they're currently number 1 right now. And according to NCAA projections, Virginia might jump Texas because of like head to head and all, and there's like tiebreaker rule. I mean, there's like strength of schedule, head to head, common opponents, and top 50 wins. If it's tied between those two, after all those categories, it's up to the committee, honestly, on this. And I know, even though South Carolina is ranked #15th, they might just drop down to 17 though, like right behind Texas A&M, Mississippi State, only because of all those tiebreakers. But it's up to the committee on that, honestly. And if like TCU and Kentucky, what they're going to do there for the 4 or 5 spot, because Kentucky won the SEC both regular season and postseason, and they have more top 50 wins. But Kentucky's strength of schedule is not as good as TCU's. So it's going to be interesting what they're going to do there, to be honest. And we're going to have to wait and see on Florida State as well, how high they're going to be. And they won the ACC tournament, by the way, by surprise against Virginia. And that's really, truly Virginia's first loss to an ACC team in like either ACC tournament or regular season since 2019. If you don't include that Wake Forest match in 2020 when the season got shut down. So that's the thing. And Florida State right now would be a 9. And there's no way for them to pass. They just have a few more, not enough wins. But obviously, Arizona could pass Florida State anyway. And if you do the head-to-head thing, I think Columbia comes out at top. If you want to check that out on collegetennisranks.com, and there's like the NCAA team comparison, that way you kind of know and all this. So there's a difference between being a top 16 seed and top 8 seed. Top 8, you get to host a Sweet 16 match. And that's assuming if you win the first 2 matches, and the top 16 is just the first 2 rounds, and that's it. But I definitely think we know it's a good possibility who we know on potentially the host sides, including like South Carolina, if they just really feel inclined to put them in there, because they went to the SEC title match in the tournament this past weekend. Yes, they lost to Kentucky, but that was 4-2. So I don't know what they're going to really do there. And honestly, they should really be past Texas A&M, but the problem is head-to-head. So we're going to have to wait and see what they do there. And San Diego could play themselves up to a top 16 by winning the whole thing, but I don't know if it's enough points just to get them there. So, and technically Michigan State could get there, but how likely are they going to beat Ohio State? First, they have to win all their matches prior to that, including a potential rematch with Michigan, which they lost that match. But that was at Michigan. Now, this is a neutral site. So that is important to make a note about that. Because if they do win that match, and they beat Ohio State, which I know that Ohio State match was 6-1, but when you look at single scores, it was close. Some of those matches were really close. So, it is what it is. And about that, and the current cut line would be 47 teams. And, of course, UCSB would be in as a big West Conference leader, but if they don't win the conference tournament, forget about it. I mean, they're out. And they only jumped FAU because of all those tiebreaker rules. And Charlotte's automatically in the tournament no matter what. So the last 4 in would be if assuming the Big Ten conference leader, USC, SB, then Rice, SMU, and Vanderbilt. But if you don't want to include the Big West conference leader, it's really Rice, SMU, Vanderbilt, and Pepperdine. And if VCU doesn't win their conference tournament, they might just be straight up out. They might be, but they might not be. I don't know. So that's another last 4 byes is them or Baylor. Then it's Georgia, Middle Tennessee State, UCF. Yeah, you get a good glimpse there. And all this, and FAU would not make the NCAA tournament right now if USCSB, the big West Conference leader, wins their conference tournament if they have one. But you get the whole point. So yeah, they're done. I mean, they're practically done unless they win. But even if they win, I don't know if it's enough. And honestly, the last 4. The first 4 out would be them, Louisville, Liberty, Notre Dame, if you include them, but they have a losing record. And Clemson. I mean, either that or Clemson, but you get the whole point. And the next 4 out would be either, if you want to include Clemson, if you include Notre Dame already, Clemson, USC is only considered because of their ranking, but the only way they're going to get in is to win a conference tournament, and they have a losing record, and you can't get in with the losing record alone. So, Pacific, which that's an important tournament coming up for them in the WCC. It is an important tournament. St. Clair and California. So, and if you want to include Nebraska, yeah. And I definitely know 2 power conference tournaments are happening this week, and Big Ten and Pac-12 for all those teams that are not even close to making the tournament or they're on the bubble. Winning your conference tournament is the best way to get there, or try to play yourselves up to an at-large. And I know there probably are more conference tournaments, and some of those are 1-bid leagues, and the Ivy League does not have a conference tournament. So keep that in mind on this. So now I'm going to go over my top 10. It's very similar. And that's Ohio State, Virginia, Texas, Kentucky, TCU, Tennessee, Wake Forest, Columbia, Florida State, and Oklahoma. Outside looking in are the following 7 teams on this list: Arizona, Harvard, Duke, NC State, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. And I tell you what, you don't want to face South Carolina if you're a host site, and if South Carolina is not hosting. And of course, this might be determined by travel as well, who gets selected. It's just the problem is some of them are going to be automatic. You gotta have to fly no matter where you go. I mean, like San Diego, if they're not a host site, because they honestly, they could technically go to Arizona. But you get the whole point. We have to wait and see what happens next week. Like I said, I'm not going to go over this poll again next week. I'm going to be more focused on the NCAA tournament, who's hosting, and what's the 4 teams in their region, and everything. So we're going to wait and see what happens from here on out. So anyways, if you like this content, hit like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So make money out this course. Like a video, comment video really helps YouTube algorithm so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. And I'm going to mention this real fast. TCU did have Jake Fernley back this week, both singles and doubles. And I know Jack Pennington Jones didn't play his first match in the Big 12 tournament in singles, but he played in doubles. It must have been something underlying because then he played in the following 2 matches. So, still no Sebastian Gorsny. So, we're at the wait and see on what is really going to happen. Are they going to have him next week? Or the Sweet 16 match? So, we're at the wait and see.